Another edition of Nonprofit Social Media Story. What are we, Nonprofit Social Media Nerds? That's what we are. How are you today? And it looks like we got Julia frozen here, so let's get Julia back in. Apologize about that. Julia, we lost you. Let's get you back on there. One moment, friends. See where she went to. We'll get Julia back on to join us.
Sorry, it wouldn't be
You there?
it wouldn't be like
Of course, everything was working fine during our pre-show and the 30 minutes leading up to it, but now all we see is a big S for Julia, and she's reconnecting because her connection is poor. All right, Skype crashed. Awesome. All right, so let's just go to me for a few. How's everybody doing? How was your Giving Tuesday? That's the real question. Did your Giving Tuesday go as you had planned? I know a lot of people hopefully had a great strategy tied around their Giving Tuesday, specifically how they were acknowledging and thanking donors. If you were not going into it with that strategy, why? To me, that I think is the most important part of Giving Days. Is how are you going to acknowledge your donors during the show? Excuse me, during the day itself. Let's see if we can get you back in here.
okay.
All right, you back?
I think so.
There
We
we
were
go.
literally online for half an hour.
There we go.
Half an hour,
Of
and you go
course.
live, and I don't. Anyway, people know who. People know. People know. People understand.
All right, so
That was just like the green room,
here we
the
are.
waiting.
Anyways,
Yeah.
welcome. It's Friday, November 30th, last day of November. Hard to believe that we are getting into the final countdown for 2018 and all your wonderful year-end giving plans. And you froze again on us, Julia. You froze. You're done. We're done with you. We're good, Julia. Back to me. All right. So, Julia doesn't want to play today, unfortunately. Hopefully, she can come back in here in a few minutes because we got to talk about your 2019 strategy. Have you started thinking about your content strategy for 2019? And more importantly, yes, it crashed on her again. So let's see if we can get Julia back in. Technology is amazing, especially when it works. All right, Julia, back?
Yeah. I don't know what's going on. I have a literal Ethernet, like a cable. Like I don't. Oh my god. I think it's just Skype. I'm not going to touch anything
Don't touch
with
it.
my hand. I'm not. I don't know. I didn't touch anything. All right. Well, we'll see how much we can actually get through before Skype decides to crash again. Also, Microsoft is the actual worst product on the literal planet. So
You got to go Apple.
I don't know. I don't think I can do Apple, but yeah, certainly obviously can't do Microsoft. So were we talking about Giving Tuesday?
We
380 million raised.
Yeah, about the 125 million raised on Facebook, the 65 plus million raised through Blackbaud, and the
Oh yeah,
300 and what was it, 80
380 million raised just in the U.S.
online.
online. Yeah.
Day.
So who knows how much was that? I mean, other people had events, other people had a ton of different campaigns. So who knows what actually the real total? I mean, I guess we'll see because hopefully people will report to Giving Tuesday. But I think it's amazing, and I know that I heard from the nonprofits, the two nonprofits that I worked with, but they use it as a kickoff to Giving Tuesday to year end. So they did not do a 24-hour campaign. But a lot of the people that I saw in our group said that they surpassed their goal, like actually just like kicked the goal's butt. So
And that's an important question. Whether you were running a Facebook fundraiser for Giving Tuesday,
yeah,
did you have an established goal? Were you letting your donors and supporters know that we're trying to raise X dollars today, and those X dollars are going to go towards this? If you're
right,
just saying, "Hey, it's Giving Tuesday and support my cat rescue," well, okay, you're one of a jabillion nonprofits that I've gotten emails from today.
yep,
If you didn't send me an email over the last 60 days, if I haven't heard from you in the last 60 days, if you haven't been prepping me on your social and on your web, I'm not giving it.
right,
I mean,
right.
you're just flooded with information that day. So I think it was really important. Let's see what Abby has to say. Abby said, our
Ooh.
clients had an awesome. I like this. Let's see.
Oh, so a lot of donors make recurring gifts.
Yes, yes. Our clients had an awesome Giving Tuesday.
That's awesome.
A couple of donors making recurring gifts to their orgs, which was exciting. I expected loads of one-time gifts, but not recurring. I bet you what happened a lot, too, with those organizations, Abby, is that they were thanking their donors during the day. They were actually acknowledging them in the moment, which is so key for a giving day. You want to be able to let them know live, real time, hey, we're this far to our goal. When I was actively, as a director of development with nonprofits, we would create a social graphic to put on the head of our Facebook feed and would tag it there. And as we were going closer and closer and closer, I would tag the donors saying thank you. We'd upgrade, increase our thermometer. I had the automatic email that went out from the system. Then I had a follow-up email. I had a board member call. I mean, we had a plan. We were a war room when it came to giving days. I had emails going out the next day. I mean, this is how you had to attack it.
That's a good topic for next year. And Classy did a great blog post on that. How to create your Giving Tuesday war room.
Yeah.
Although I saw some nonprofits that were like, we don't want to call it a war room. We want to call it a mission room or something.
Whatever
but this point is the same.
Yeah. I see our friend Bob's joining us. We know we have Abby with us today. Jim Wells is with us. Always great to see some friends. And I've been kind of on a high horse and going a little crazy about this on social. But the match was not what you should have been focused on for Giving Tuesday. If that was your plan, then I'm sorry. You didn't plan right. And you can be mad at me all you want. But
well, when you say match, you should specify what you mean. Because if your organization had a match that you got by yourself and you had your own match, a local donor, a local business, whatever, that's fine.
That's different.
But yeah, Josh was talking about the Facebook, PayPal, $7 million, whatever. Mark Zuckerberg just spent that right now on like a crib, or I don't know how old his kids are, but whatever.
That $7 million was 5.4% of the total donations made.
It was like an embarrassing amount of money. I was embarrassed. I was like, $7 million?
It's a lot of money.
Between PayPal and Facebook? No.
And they cap per organization. So for those nonprofits that are still, a day or two later, we're like, did we get a match? I'm sorry. The money was gone before you knew it.
I know.
And, that certainly put the West Coast at a disadvantage. I think that,
yes, it did.
Kivy LaRue Miller had a really good comment on one of Beth Canner's posts about why couldn't they have used some sort of algorithm at 11:59 p.m. on Tuesday, say, okay, now everyone who made a gift that day is going to get 0.0001%, but you're still going to get something versus those who were telling their donors, give today because of this great match.
Yeah.
That was your wrong. You did it wrong. You were communicating in the wrong way with your donors.
Well, I think that segues nicely into our topic today because we are going to talk about how to create a simple digital content strategy for your nonprofit, of which Giving Tuesday, may or may not be a part next year, or a Giving Day or a fundraising campaign. And, I just wanted to start off, it's 10 minutes in, but if you don't know me, I'm Julia Campbell. This is Josh Hirsch. I'm sure you know us, love us. We manage a nonprofit Facebook group. It's almost at 4,000 members. We're trying to figure out what we're going to do for the 4,000th member, other than I'm going to drink a whole bottle of champagne and just get really excited. It's probably going to be Christmas time, so maybe I don't know. Oh, by the way, I learned to floss. Did you see that Instagram story? Anyway, the floss dance, not floss your teeth. I actually learned how to do it, so maybe I'll do that for the 4. I'm sure no one wants to see that. Anyway, so join the group if you are not a member already. Tons of great discussions, lots of controversy around Giving Tuesday and the match, some heated discussions. It's pretty exciting.
I don't mind. I'm
I know. Josh is adding some provocative gifts in there, and it's pretty cool. So take a look at the group. But we just thought that a lot of nonprofits really suffer from not having even a 1 or 2 page strategy for what they're going to do in 2019. So today is not necessarily about like exactly what you're going to put in every single day of your editorial calendar, although we are going to show you Josh's example at the end of his Race for the Cure calendar, which is really cool, but more about strategy. So I recommend that when you start off with, thinking about the new year, and I am the worst person because I don't necessarily do this, but I actually did do this for 2019 and I haven't done it in the past. So just do a really quick digital audit of what you did in this past year. Now, digital audits can take, of course, weeks and hours, but what I'm recommending is just a really, really simple audit, because if it's too complicated and it's too time consuming, you're not going to do it. So take a look at your most popular digital content for 2018, and you're going to be like, oh yeah, I remember that post in May that went viral, or I remember that video that got a lot of views. I remember that blog post, that email that got a lot of opens, a lot of response. Just kind of think about the content that was most popular. You can certainly go into your insights, into your analytics, if you do want to dive in a little bit deeper. But take out a piece of paper and write down 10 things that worked really well this year. So did you try Instagram stories? Did that work well? Did you try sending an email once a week as opposed to quarterly? Did that work well or not work well? Did you start a blog? What are some things that you felt worked really well this year on your digital channels? And then on the other side of the piece of paper, write down 10 things that you feel like didn't work well, but could maybe be improved, right? So, or 10 things, you could also do it 10 things that you definitely don't want to do again. But I like to do 10 things that you feel like you could improve on, that could be leveraged and changed and improved. So
this actually,
yeah.
This is a
no, it's okay.
exercise for your communications committee.
Oh, great idea.
And if you don't have a communications committee, that's a great thing to add for your 2019 strategy.
Yep.
Don't go at this alone. I mean, we know that at most organizations, we're working multiple departments. If you have someone else in the organization that you can bounce ideas off of, that you can sit down and say, hey, let's block off an hour. Let's look at our content strategy. Let's look at those stories that we told. Let's see what resonated. To me, I don't care about likes. I don't care about followers. I don't care about impressions. I want engagements. Yeah. I want to see what's moved the needle. What's causing people to comment? What's causing people to share? What's getting them to engage in a conversation about what I'm telling them? And if it's just, okay, I see that our likes have gone from X to Y, that's great, but what does that mean? Are those just numbers, or are those people that are actually engaging with your organization?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. So take a look at things that worked for you. And I agree, go beyond the likes and go beyond simple numbers and try to figure out, did this help you build your community? And did this help you kind of spread your ideas to more and more people? Or did it help deepen relationships, with your donors? So do that simple exercise. And like Josh said, if you cannot do it alone, try not to do it alone, or maybe do it alone and then go to your communications committee and then do it with them as well. So you have like a jumping off point. The key with this is to not just put it in a drawer, is to really glean some insights and do some analysis and see trends and see, maybe you did your first live stream and it worked really well. That might be something, you got some great feedback. Maybe you want to do that again. So think about that. So that's kind of your first step, is to do that little brief digital audit. And then the second step is my favorite. It's get out a piece of paper. And I actually was going to get out a piece of paper, and I'm going to live demo this, and write the letters POST. So you can't really see that at all, but that's okay. POST for post strategy. If you've read the book Groundswell, then you know what I'm about to talk about, because we're going to use the post method to create a really, really quick digital content strategy that you can then build on. So POST stands for people, objectives, strategies, and tools. And I like this method a lot because it's not overwhelming. It's not a 5 to 10 page workbook that you have to fill out. But it also starts with people first, which is always where I come from in my work with clients in any way that I approach marketing or fundraising. So you want to fill this out in the 4 quadrants. You want to start with people. So think about the people that you need to reach. So who are you trying to reach? Who is your audience?
Or audiences.
Right. I mean, then if you do have multiple audiences, you have to do this for each of them.
You should.
Like you can't just do one page for all audiences. So if getting more clients is a big priority for you in 2019, then do the post strategy for client recruitment. If getting more volunteers is a strategy for you in 2019, you want to fill one out for volunteers. Getting more donors, which I know all of us, that's a strategy for 2019. That's another one. So it is important that you do, I would do this once and figure out your main audience that you're trying to reach and engage with in 2019. Some of us, it might be members. Maybe you have memberships, maybe you're an association. Some of us might not be getting support from private donors. Maybe you want more corporate sponsors. So just figure out really who you're going to be targeting with one prong of your digital content strategy, and really dive deep into what do they care about? What do they know about you? What do they want to learn more about? What are they interested in? Like what compels them to be engaged with you? And you might have to think about these things a little bit. And that's why the committee structure was probably great. Then you can bounce ideas off of other people. So you want to dive deep into your audience that you're going to be targeting with your digital content, because if you don't know who you're talking to and who you're creating content for, then your content is just going to be kind of all over the place. And I think that's where a lot of nonprofits kind of fall flat, because they don't have an idea of who their supporters are and some of the things that their supporters care about. Like they know, okay, we care about this organization, but we also care about things going on in our community. We really care about this cause. What else can we learn about this cause? So think about your people. Then O is objectives. And this is where you get into what does success look like? What's the destination? How are you going to measure success? So I really recommend writing down no more than maybe 2 or 3 objectives, because I just talked with a really good friend of mine, and she's looking to do more speaking around video marketing, and we're going to meet on Wednesday in person. And if she's watching, hi Megan, she's an amazing person. But she told me, she said, I have 10 goals for 2019. I was like, oh my God, that's crazy. I was like, I used to be that person. But then, and actually I have these books to share with you. I read The One Thing, which is essential reading for everybody. And then I read this book called Essentialism, and I've refined my goal. You're only really supposed to have one goal, which is kind of impossible. But I refined my goals to 3. So if you have 10 goals, unless you have a team of like 50 people, that's probably not true. And I would be willing to bet that the majority of you watching this are smaller shops or kind of doing it all yourself. So I don't know, Josh, what do you do? How many goals? You probably have like 50 goals.
Yeah, well, I mean, we've just since our last live show, there's been a lot of changes here at Komen. We've gone from Komen, South Florida, which we were covering 4 counties here in South Florida, and now we are officially Komen, Florida. We've done a statewide expansion, so now we are covering 64 of the 67 counties. So it is crazy what my objectives are this year, because that means my grant making has gone from 4 counties to now I'm a grant maker in 64 counties. And how are we going to effectively do that, whether those are through working with other similar organizations that we grant here in our area, identifying that. So it's a lot. And that's just one part of my job. And then I have all the communication side of how am I going to then effectively talk both statewide as well as hyper-local communication to the various regions around the state. So it's a lot, and thankfully I have a really strong internal team. Um, I really trust that person.
Yeah.
Because I'm a team of one.
Yeah.
But we, working together with other leadership staff here in the organization, working with my communications committee, I know that there's others that I can bounce ideas off of when I'm up at 2 o'clock in the morning working on a social graphic. Like, for example, today at midnight is the last time that you can register for the 2019 race before fees go up. So we were talking about, all right, what's our strategy this week? This was back on Sunday. It's like, all right, we want to do a countdown. We want to do coordinating social posts. We're going to do a Facebook Live on Friday. Having it all match up so it's all consistent. Like if you go to our Facebook page, you will see and feel that it's all part of a series. Having consistency in your messaging is
Yes.
so key. You want
Yep.
people to look at what you're putting out there and know that's coming from this organization. You know what that call to action is. Too many times I'm seeing posts that are paragraphs long. And what's most effective? 2 sentences, if that. I mean, I want, what do you want me to do? What am I clicking? And when do you want me to do it?
Yep. I think some objectives, like you were talking about, you had this statewide expansion. So perhaps like an overarching objective for 2019 for you, and I'm making this up, is to let more people know, just to create more awareness around the expansion. Maybe to target more potential grantees and get more people knowing about your application. Also, maybe you want to get 50% more women signing up for preventative services. I'm just making those up, but those are some objectives. I mean, for me, when I like a client that I worked with, of course, they had all of the objectives, like 50 different objectives. And I was saying, okay, you are a staff of one person, but you can kind of clump them sometimes into this. So deepening donor relationships to increase donor retention could be a strategy. So maybe you really want to focus on donor retention in 2019. You're sick of losing donors, year after year after year. That could be a really great objective. Or maybe you want to focus on recruiting really high quality board members because a lot of your board members are going to be leaving in 2019. So think about what's on the radar, what's coming up. And of course, this is not written in stone. This is written on a piece of paper or in, a Google Doc, and you can always change it. But I think the exercise is really valuable. So that's P and O. So S is strategy. And that's really what Josh was talking about. That's what are you going to create? How are you going to create the message that will reach the people that will help you accomplish the objective? So the only 2 strategies that I focus on in terms of content creation, digital content creation, one is, it's not going to be a surprise to anybody. It's storytelling. Because think about any audience that you're trying to reach. So you're pitching your idea. I mean, we're all marketers, even if you don't think you're a marketer, you're marketing your idea. I mean, you're trying to get people to pay attention. You're trying to get people to respond and take an action, whether it's sign up for the race, whether it's sign up to volunteer, whether it's make a donation, whether it's call a hotline. You're trying to get someone to do something, right? So people need to know that the action that they're taking, they need to know what's in it for them. They need to know they're going to be making an impact. They're going to be having a difference. They're going to be actually doing something that's meaningful, because we're all thinking like, what's in it for us at the end of the day. So your digital content should focus on stories of what you do. And then the other prong that I find really effective is being the go-to resource in your field, being a trusted resource, sharing with me educational content and information that I want. Because if I sign up for your email list or I like you on Facebook, I've raised my hand and I've said, this is a cause that I care about and I want to know more about it. And I don't have time to to do Google searches. I don't have time to sift through all of the garbage and crap online. I need you to tell me what's important. What do I need to do? What do I need to care about? Just like Josh said, like sift through, filter. I need you to help me filter through what's I hate the term fake news, what's like unimportant and what's important, right? So those are really the two prongs. And I mean, of course, I could talk for 20 hours about like content strategy, but I think if you really want to simplify your digital content strategy, focusing on stories of your impact, stories that humanize your brand, stories that take people behind the scenes, stories that show who you are, who your organization is, and what you're all about, and then giving your audience those resources and information that they crave because they've raised their hand and said, this is a cause that I care about. Okay. Do you have anything else to add? Because we're all, what are we on? T? Okay. And then notice that we are tools last. T is technology and tools and tactics. You cannot be tools first in your strategy. So what I don't want you to do is say, my goal for 2019 is to get on Instagram. No. You need to go through the people, the objectives, the strategies, and only then am I going to let you tell me that you need to be on Instagram, because you might not need to be on Instagram. You might need to be on something else. So once you understand your people, once you understand what success looks like, once you understand the kinds of content that you're going to share, then you can pick out the tools and objectives. For example, if thought leadership is a huge objective of yours in 2019, then, oh my goodness, if thought leadership is a huge example of yours, then you probably want to start a blog. I mean, that's kind of the best way. That's just one of the best ways. Or you want to do Facebook Lives, or you want to start an email list. So it's you probably don't want to be on Snapchat. I'm just kind of spitballing here, but you have to match the tools with what you're trying to do. You also have to match the tools with where your people are. If your goal for 2019 is, I want to reach, 100 new millennial and Gen Z donors, then you have to be looking at the tools that you're using, and you have to be looking at the content that you're creating. So all of the pieces of the puzzle, I think, will fit together. Yeah. Do you have something to add to that, Josh? And then I want to look at your content calendar and put all the pieces of this content strategy together.
Absolutely. We'll share that in a moment. Okay. But that's exactly right. You can't say, I've got this really cool new widget I want to use, and this widget is going to solve everything. But if that widget isn't talking to the audience that you identified, if it's not in line with your objectives, and it doesn't fall in line with your strategy, just because it's shiny and fancy, that's what we should be using.
Yep.
I mean, to me, it doesn't make sense that just because everyone's on Snapchat or everyone's on Instagram,
right,
or there has to be a reason, a strategy behind using that tool.
Yes, it has to help you accomplish your objectives. So Instagram's actually a really great example, because I do get that from clients a lot, and I do get people emailing me and calling me, and I do webinars on Instagram, but they start off with, hi, can you help us with an Instagram strategy? And I'm like, I don't even know your name. I don't know your nonprofit. I don't know your goals. I don't know your objectives. I don't know your staff capacity. I don't know if you have the kinds of content that work on Instagram or the capacity to create the kind of content that works on Instagram. So it's literally like, and I use this example all the time, if I just met you and you said to me, hey, so where should I buy a house? It's like, I don't know where you should buy a house. I don't know your budget. I don't know do you like the cold? Because then move here. Do you like the warmth? Because then move to West Palm Beach. So it's really difficult to do tools first without figuring out the structure that you're building on, your preferences, your objectives. What do you hope to glean? And another mandatory book, because my desk is littered with books. This is Marketing. So good. Mandatory reading for anybody. Anyone. I don't care if you're a fundraiser, executive director, you have to read This Is Marketing, because it's all about people and community first, identifying who your community is, and then designing things for that community. So so that's all I have for digital content strategy. And we can take questions, and I'd love to let everyone take a look at your race calendar.
Yeah, so we've identified, we've gone through our post, we're speaking to, we know what our objectives, we've created our strategy, we have our tool. Now what? What is that one
Right.
document that's going to house everything? Because I think it's really most effective to have something down on paper, and it's not just like, let me walk into the office today and figure out what email I'm going to send.
Right.
You know, it goes back to the Giving Tuesday example. If you do not have a content strategy and communications plan for Giving Tuesday, at minimum 60 days out, then you need to look at how you're going to change that for 2019. So for Komen, the race is the largest, especially down here in South Florida. It's the largest outdoor event of its kind in the region. We have over 15,000 people that come to the waterfront in West Palm Beach, and it's absolutely incredible. Um, Jennifer Harris is asking for a list of the
Oh,
books.
yes.
So if you want to,
I
Julia,
will. I do a recap of these, but I will. I'll write them down right now. I'll send them to you right now.
and she'll drop those links into the comments section. So for us with the race, as you can imagine, it takes an army of volunteers. Patricia is asking the same thing about the book. So and Julia just dropped out on us again. Fabulous. All right, let's get Julia back in here. Sorry about that, guys. Julia's not allowed to touch anything until the broadcast is over. That's pretty much the rule now. Get her back in. Julia, no touching it.
Yes. No,
Get her.
it's when I touch the mouse. I touch the mouse.
Don't touch anything.
I know. I know. Can you imagine what it's like to be me? Honestly, this is my life all the time. Anyway, keep going. Thankfully, you were talking.
Karen was asking about LinkedIn as part of your content strategy. I'll touch
Once again, tools first. How do I know? How do I know that you need to be on LinkedIn?
right.
Or as part of my personal one, maybe you can talk about how you guys use it.
I mean, for us, we have a LinkedIn page. You know, it's another one of those things. It's like we're on there to be on there. I'm pushing out content, but I don't think it's the most effective because I know that that's not where my people are. I know my people are on Facebook.
Yep.
You know, my communications committee doesn't think that we should be on Twitter, just because it's not really the right place for us. But I'm still sharing content out there because I think there's a large community of breast cancer survivors and co-survivors. But I've identified where my audience is. I know what my strategy. I know what tools to use them. But like as I was saying, I need to have that one place to house it. So for the race, we literally meet 10 months out beginning from it. And then I put together a very focused and organized content strategy between our public relations, because we work with a PR firm to do the difference between earned media and owned media. So owned media would be that sort of PR stuff that we're working with to get the stories out there. Earned media would be when the local stations are coming to us to ask us about the stories. So I need to have that fall in line with our email strategy, along with our social and our web. So the tool that I use, there's two facets. There is the scheduling, which I use one tool, and then there's actual creation of the content calendar. So we do a little screen share here, and this will work. So what you're looking at right here is I embedded on our website the communications plan for the race. That way I could send a link easily to my board members and communications team and say, hey, this is what we've got going on, as opposed to having them get links to the tool. Let me take our lower thirds off here so you guys can see that a little better. Sorry about that. So this tool is called Airtable, and we've mentioned it before on some of our other shows. It is free. There are add-ons, there are premiums, but the free tool that you see here is available to anyone. So what I really like about it is that I can have all different searchable, this is all customizable. All these filters are customizable, everything that you see here. So I have it broken down between email, I have it broken down, and as you see, it's when all those things are going on, when I've got all those activations going out, and then I have my corresponding social posts in Facebook to fall in line with when those emails are going out. And then same thing for my Twitter, and then LinkedIn. So those are the main areas. We're using YouTube as well. So a lot of the video content that I'm creating for Facebook, I'll then reshare on our YouTube channel as well. But what's really nice is that I can have this collaborator column. So it allows Melanie, who is part of my PR team, can go in there and create the content. So let me bring this up here so you guys can actually see. for example.
Yeah,
So
this is really cool because it shows you kind of where the gaps are. Maybe if you're not, where, so you're not kind of scrambling at the last minute.
working with the team, and exactly. So I say, all right, these are the various touches that I want to do. These are the themes for my messaging. So she comes in here, creates my segmented content, and then I use our email tool to sell it all out there. That way, there's not a back and forth of emails saying, "Hey, can you send me, the email that we're doing for Cyber Monday, or can you send me, Dawn's profile?" It's and I see your question up there, Virginia. We'll come back to it in a second. Um, but being able to work together in this format makes it so much easier. So when I have my scheduling tool and we use Sprout Social for that, and we'll just bring up my dashboard real quick so you guys can see that all. Logging in here for you. So then I can take everything that I've done in my communications calendar and look at all of my various social posts, then bring it into my calendar here in Sprout Social, and then have it all queued up. So to me, I need to work this way. Others might want to work day by day by day, but when I'm managing a major event like this, and I've got to worry about all these various touches that we have going between.
When you also are at the event, you're going to the event. So it's like you need to line up some content to be because you're going to be physically there. So you need to make sure that everything's going off without a hitch.
Absolutely. The day of content, I have a whole different strategy and a whole different calendar just for that. We have a run of show calendar, beginning when we're on site between 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. I have an army of social media collectors, we'll call them, that are out there that are actually grabbing the content. They're saying they can't hear you, Julia, so you need to talk up.
Oh, hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
that'd be actually, you know what? After you do your race, that would be a fantastic Facebook Live, I think. How to coordinate an army of social media ambassadors on an event day or for an event.
Somehow we lost your audio there, Julia. I don't know what happened.
Oh my God. Of course, it's okay. Hold on. I'm gonna write something.
But yeah, so even on the race day itself, I have people that are out there that are collecting content from my Instagram stories that are going to be out there, and specifically too with like my photographers. I have photographers that are assigned to various spots on the race course, but also it's like, yeah, tech fail for Julia nonstop. Um, yeah, I don't know, guys. I'm sorry. I don't know why Julia always breaks down.
No idea. I'm not on mute, I promise.
But yeah, even on
Not
the
on
race
mute.
day, as I was saying itself, yeah, we lost your audio for some reason. That's strange.
Okay, well, you got to wrap it up.
Yep. So let me just go back to Virginia's question we saw up here. She was asking, how do you branch out? Let's add that in. So, how do you branch out of your personal network? We're very small, all volunteers, work in one prison in Peru to train women and give them tools to lead sustainable lives. For 9 years, we've relied too much on the Founders Network, and I'm having a hard time to branch out and find a larger audience. Those are all really, really good questions. And now that you're
Can
back,
you still not hear me?
no, now they say you can hear you now. Whatever you did, it fixed.
Okay.
Very
How to branch out and find new people? Okay, I don't know. So the thing that I find very challenging is that nonprofits are so focused on pushing out messages and reaching new people and reaching new audiences and amplifying their exposure. And I think the best strategy is to focus on who you have already in your database and who your volunteers are, who your supporters are, and rely on them to spread the message for you. So I don't find like buying a bunch of Facebook ads, spending a ton of money on ads. I don't find that to be, in my experience, very effective, because unless you're a big name nonprofit or unless you are a cause that's always in the news, like hurricane relief, or if there was an emergency, the wildfires in California, it's going to be really hard to interrupt somebody with your marketing and get them to pay attention. So it has to be a little bit more organic. And that's why you have to share the kinds of content that the people that already like you are going to share to their friends and family. So I don't think you can really purchase attention anymore. I'm completely on the Seth Godin, this is like train where interrupting people, purchasing attention, I don't think that can really happen anymore. I think you have to genuinely build a community through the people that know and love you right now and figure out how to create stuff for them that they like so much that then they tell other people. There's no silver bullet in this. And it's really, it's simple to understand, but it's not easy to do. And that's how I feel about that.
We run a lot of Facebook ads, but I create custom audiences.
Yeah.
Based upon those who have engaged with us in the past, based upon those who like it. I mean, there's a lot you can do. Buying audiences, paying for likes. That's no. I want to feed my content down the throat of people who are already engaging with me. So this week I've run 3 different boosted post ads leading up to today's 11:59 p.m. deadline. Like I said, you go to our Facebook page and you'll see how it all falls in line with that strategy. And the content we're sharing is what people want to see and what they want to benefit from. We had another question here from Andrew. Andrew asked, and let's bring that up on the screen so others can see it. He says, a few of our supporters created personal Facebook fundraisers for Giving Tuesdays, similar to the birthday fundraiser, and it was effective. What are your thoughts on implementing these into content strategy and fundraising plan?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I say yes.
Well, the way that you can be really effective is providing them a toolkit.
Yes, a Facebook fundraising toolkit on your website. Absolutely.
It's like, okay, here's step 1, create the fundraiser. Step 2, here's an email that you can send out to your friends and supporters. Just drop in a couple things here. Here's graphics that you can share on your page. We're working on creating a Warriors toolkit. So Forward has a national program called Forward Warriors in Pink, and each year we select 8 women, 8 warriors. We've had male warriors, but a majority of the time it's women, to act as ambassadors of the race. And we're putting together this toolkit that they can then be able to have set messages, have set content. It makes it so much easier. So with your comment, Andrew, about having your supporters create Facebook fundraisers, absolutely. But make it easier for them. Create a how-to video on how to create that Facebook fundraiser. Create those content posts. Make it so much easier for them.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think also letting people know that it's an option. So doing an entire communications campaign, like that could be one of your 3 objectives in 2019. Get more people to fundraise on Facebook for you. And then you would create the toolkit. You'd create a series of communications. I know the Polaris Project in DC, in their software, when people sign up for their email list or give them a donation, they ask people for their birthday, just the date and the month and the date. That way, first of all, they can send them, they used to do this so they could send them a birthday card. Now they do it so they can say, hey, your birthday's coming up. Would you consider donating your birthday to Polaris? And it has raised them hundreds of thousands of dollars, just that one simple tweak. But the key is being incredibly intentional about it and strategic about it, and not just having it be kind of a one-off and like, oh, people are creating fundraisers for us. That's great. Being strategic, being intentional, doing what Josh said, making it super, super easy for people to do. But I think it's a great thing to focus on in 2019. I do.
We got another question that came in here from Katrina.
Oh, wow. Okay.
People are all engaging today. I love it. So Katrina says, I work at a Holocaust museum, which has a large organic audience. We're hoping to start raising funds for a big move in the next couple of years. How can I develop content that pushes our organic audience to engage, donate, and to possibly add more diversity to our existing audience?
Well, you have to get people to care. You have to get them to understand the value that you are providing to the community. You're not going to get people that don't care about history to give to your cause. So the other key for me is to not focus on the people that aren't going to get it, that aren't going to care. And so Seth Godin, he says it, shun the non-believers. Like, don't worry about those people. Worry about the people that maybe go to cultural events in your city, that maybe are members of other museums in your city, that are interested in culture and history and preserving history. I mean, that are that are interested in those kinds of things. And um, I don't know. I think creating content that shows that it's vitally important that we preserve these kinds of institutions. I would honestly, now this is just me giving you my advice. I would talk about how anti-Semitic violence and threats have increased 17% in the past year. And that's from the Anti-Defamation League. So look at the Anti-Defamation League and a lot of their statistics. Tie what you're doing into current events, and it's going to make it more relevant and more urgent. And I think a lot more people are going to respond to it. That's definitely not for everybody, but that is how I would personally approach it.
I think you bring up a good point, especially with a lot of anti-Semitism that's been happening in this country over the last couple of years, and more so recently with the shooting up in Pittsburgh and other acts of violence that are happening across the country, specifically anti-Semitism. Make it relevant, make it timely. I think.
You talk about why it's important.
Yeah.
What would be lost if this museum was lost? What would we lose as a society? What would we lose as a culture? And that's what I usually tell my clients, like, talk to me about what would be lost, and create your messaging from there.
So Kimberly has a question. What if you want to reach a more diverse audience? I'm not really sure what Kimberly means by that. I think that taking a shotgun approach isn't necessarily the best way to go. If you've gone through your post method that Julia outlined, you're going to know who you want to talk to. So reach out to those audience in particular.
Yeah, think about why. So first of all, why do you want, and secondly, I don't know what you mean by diverse. Diverse can mean a lot of different things. So diverse can mean different ages, diverse can mean different ethnicities, diverse can mean different religions, diverse can mean different regions, different towns. So diverse, it means a lot of different things. Secondly, when you define why, like why is this important to you, then you can really figure out who you want to focus on first, like which kind of demographic you want to focus on first. But I always start with the why. Why is this important? And then who specifically are you trying to reach?
So Kimberly says inclusive religion and ethnicity are the...
Well, then go back to what do you want them to do? So we just have to just walk through the post method. It's like, what specifically do you want this audience to do? And then you can think about some of the strategies to reach them. Where do they hang out? Where do they spend time? What kind of magazines do they read? What Facebook pages do they follow? What Instagram accounts do they follow? What's important to them? Like, where are they having conversations online? I think just, you got to do some market research and really drill down into where this particular audience hangs out and figure out how you can kind of get your message in front of them.
So we have a lot of questions that keep coming in, and we're going to keep answering.
Oh my gosh. Okay. All right.
Great. So Allison wants to know, currently associations I work with can only afford free versions of social media scheduling tools. Do you prefer Hootsuite, Sprout Social, CoSchedule, or something else? I use a mixture of several. So Sprout Social is not going to be for your associations if they can't afford a social media scheduling tool. It is not a free tool. It's about $1,500 a year, but it makes my life so much easier when I'm managing multiple channels, multiple messaging. Hootsuite's great for listening. I don't like Hootsuite for scheduling. I like Hootsuite to set up my dashboards, to look at the conversations I want to follow based on the various topics. I have various dashboards set up for the race so I can see what other Komen affiliates are talking about. Let's see what the Komen National is saying. But more so, I want to know what people are saying in my community using various hashtags that I've set up, as well as what they're just talking about in general.
Yep. For
scheduling for a free nonprofit, Buffer is the way to go.
I was going to say Buffer. Yeah. I like Buffer. I second that.
Buffer, I think it's 5 profiles you can, schedule for free. There's a web-based...
Yeah, with the free version, you really can't do very much. But I have the $5.99 a month version.
Yeah.
That will get you a ton more.
Yeah.
So the free version, I think you can have 2 profiles and 20 posts a month or something, which is fine. That might be fine for you. I literally pay $5.99 a month. So, and I can do everything that I need to do with Buffer. So it's definitely not 100% free but affordable.
They do have nonprofit pricing as well. I know that.
They do.
Yeah.
Yes, and Hootsuite does too.
Yep.
And I bet Sprout Social does too. All
Another
of us probably do.
great scheduling tool that we use for Instagram is called Later.
Yes.
Later.com is awesome. So I love Later because you can have your predetermined set of hashtags in there. So you literally have your media library, you drag an image over to the calendar, you queue it up, and you're good to go. With the free version, you can do 30 posts a month, which is good. I'd like to do more, but I'm not paying for that tool, so I'll keep it at the 30 that we have now.
Yeah.
Let's see what questions that we have come in.
All right. We got 5 more minutes.
All right. Last
question. I turn into a pumpkin.
Last question from Ren. Does Facebook still punish scheduled posts? Yes and no. So
they don't officially, but they kind of do.
Right. So Sprout Social is a preferred partner of Facebook. They are not punished when it comes to the algorithm. Facebook and them work together well. So that's good. I use Facebook's native scheduling tool a lot, but I also use Sprout Social for it. I wouldn't buffer to Facebook. I wouldn't Hootsuite to Facebook.
No.
But I would Sprout Social to Facebook.
I never, ever use anything other than the native Facebook, the tool inside my Facebook page. I never schedule from a third party ever because I can see the results. I don't get any results.
Well, this was awesome, guys.
I can't see the questions and I can't touch my mouse.
But it went well. As always with working with Julia, there's technical snafus.
Always.
But that's okay because we rolled right with it. And
until Josh convinces me to go back to Apple, then we'll still have these snafus.
Drink the Kool-Aid.
All right. Well, thanks everybody. I'm so excited that you could join us today. Sorry for the tech fails, but I mean, anyone that knows me knows that happens. I will be writing a recap up on the blog. I will get you the books, any other tools that were mentioned here. Either Josh or I will put them in the comments. What the heck is next week? Are we doing one next week? We are. December.
No. Next week you are. I'm
not. 7th. Okay, I'm doing one next week, and I had the title in front of me, and I don't remember what it is. But it's something for planning in 2019. So we're going to stay with that theme. We're probably going to do Facebook Lives for the rest of the year. But yeah, keep sending in your questions, your comments. Go in the Facebook group. Say hi. Send me a message. I'm happy to answer any and all questions that you have. And keep an eye out for the recap post. And yeah, have a fantastic weekend, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.